Brian. Doc here.
Hey, Doc. How you doing?
Yeah, I just want to echo the sentiments of that book there. You and I came across it, two very different paths. My wife, got her business degree, that was one of her required readings in college, and she just happened to have the book on the shelf, and I honestly just picked it up by accident. And like you said, a real page turner.
All right, so I want to point out that this month's book club reading is on October the 29th. It's the last Tuesday of every month. That is what we normally have our book club on, and Fritz is the leader of this book club. Right now, we are reading the book called Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun by Reginald Lewis. This is an excellent book. For me, it was a page turner, meaning I couldn't stop reading it until I was done. And so it has a kind of a catchy or thought provoking title, but it's not about race. It's about you know playing with the big boys. It's about having fun, being able to make a ton of money doing things that most people can't do in the world of making just huge amounts of money off one transaction of buying companies with little or no money down, right? And buying 500 billion dollar companies. And Reginald Lewis was a black man that grew up in Baltimore in a you know not a wealthy family. Ended up going to Harvard without having to apply for it, and so you have to hear that story. And eventually, he eventually became someone that was leading a huge company, and that had private jets, had houses in the Hamptons, and it was just crazy wealthy. And if he didn't die at a young age, he died at 50 with brain cancer. If he didn't die at that time, you would have heard about him. He would have been just as popular, if not, in my opinion, just as popular as someone like Oprah, because he would have been the first billionaire black American. And so he just died young, but he was definitely it's definitely an amazing story that you want to check out. So with that
Hey,
said,
O'Brien. Doc here.
hey, Doc, how you doing?
Yeah, I just want to echo the sentiments of that book there. You and I came across it, two very different paths. My wife, got her business degree, that was one of her required readings in college, and she just happened to have the book on the shelf, and I honestly just picked it up by accident. And like you said, a real page turner. And for folks, I think most of the folks on the call are familiar with a movie like Wall Street and like.
Public's out there throwing darts at a board sport. I don't throw darts at a board. I bet on sure things. Read Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Every battle is won before it's ever fought. Think about it. You're not as smart as I thought you were, buddy boy. You ever wonder why fund managers can't beat the S&P 500? Because they're sheep, and sheep get slaughtered.
Street and like the Gordon Gecko character. Yeah,
Hmm.
and as you recall, Gecko was a raider, right? He was borrowing money to buy companies like Teldar Paper and the airline and all that, but he wanted to just basically strip them of all their assets, kind of deal. Whereas, Lewis was the guy that would buy a company and actually try to run it better, and whatnot. So kind of the same acquisition strategy, but once he got the company, a very, very different visions of things. But yeah, almost like a good Gordon Gecko kind of character in a way.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that because it makes me think this would be an excellent movie. This is like Lil has been saying that she thought the book Long Term Capital Management: Why Genius Fail would be a good movie. This would actually be a really good movie too. right? And I'm surprised it hasn't been a movie. And probably it hasn't been because it's a well known book, but not well known enough. It's like one of those really good movies that is on the fringe that you have once you saw it, you a cult following of it, but not enough people have seen the movie. That's how that book is to me, I believe.
Agreed.
So jump into it, you guys, and read the book, listen to it, if you don't have time to read it. And I know I have the book and the audio, so I'm I love the book. So I'm glad Dr. Meadows has recommended it. So see you guys on the last Tuesday of the month for the book club, and we'll be able to see how the book impacts you, because it's definitely going to impact you in some way. It's definitely motivational. Definitely, once you want to be the best you can be after reading this book, in my opinion.